So we've been looking at Garen Karunatilaka lesson 10, the further readings. I noticed, by the way, that when I was looking in my translation of the Dhammapada commentary, that this story about the doctor and the blind woman is in there too. So it's not only in the Rasavahini. It's a second story for the first verse of the Dhammapada, if you'd like to look. And then I thought we would look again a bit at the third reading, which is from the Dhammapada commentary on the verse number 125. And I have my translation. I mean, not my translation. I have my book of the Burlingame translation, which I noticed he translates slightly differently than I took it in one place, and I think John Kelly, and that's interesting. And I think also I misspoke about something as well last week, so let's do this a bit again, if you don't mind. So I'll read out the old Burlingame translation. It's over 100 years old, but I think it's still pretty good. I like it. So he starts here, he calls it wicked physician, boys, and poisonous snake. Right? So the story goes that in times long past, so that would be Atita Kira, a certain physician made the rounds of a village seeking employment for his services. So a certain physician, Eko Vejo, made the rounds, Vicharitva, of a village, Gamang, seeking employment for his services. So that's expressed here in the dative, Veja Kamataya, full stop. Finding none, and overcome with hunger, he departed from that village. So here, Labitva, having received Kinchi Kamang, no work at all, and then Chatajato, overcome with hunger, he has Nikamitva, he departed from that village. Then he has, as he passed out of the village gate, he noticed a throng of little boys playing about the gate. So here, Gamadvare, at the village gate, or as he passed out of the village gate on his way out of town, and then here, seeing, and it was mentioned in the last class that perhaps these things could be a locative absolute, but in fact I don't think so, because I think this is all accusative plural, going with this present participle. A throng of little boys playing. I think that would be an accusative, not a locative. They share the case ending. Playing about the gate. And then, as soon as the physician saw them, he thought to himself. So, let me keep going. I will let a snake bite these boys, and then I will treat their wounds. Thus I will obtain food for myself. So, here we have having, how does he have it? I will let a snake bite these boys. So here we have the verb dusity, to bite, with that retroflexed initial D, in the causative, to cause to bite, in the absolutive form of the verb, having caused to be bitten. And then the ime here, them, I would say it would be represented by the Kumarake, the boys, by the snake, instrumental, sapena, and then another absolutive, kichitva, which is, I will treat their wounds, or here, having treated them, aharang labisami, I will obtain food. Right? Full stop. Accordingly, he pointed to a snake that lay in the hole of a certain tree with his head thrust out, and said to the boys. So this is different from what I thought, because I had taken the niharitva to thrust out, to stretch out, a kasming rukabile sisang, to be referring to the doctor looking into the tree. But he, in this translation that I'm reading, seems to be referring to the snake doing this. So there seems to be somewhat of an ambiguity about who's doing what. I'm not sure, honestly, what exactly is the right one. It seemed to me that this piece, Ekasmen Rukabile Sisang Niharfa, would be referring to the doctor spotting the snake in a hole in a tree. But it seems like our translator that I'm reading, again, he says, he pointed to a snake that lay in the hole of a certain tree with his head thrust out. So that is possible. So Dasetva, having shown this Nippanang Sapang, would be a lying or a sleeping snake, perhaps, right? The object of the absolutive. And then this is the greeting to the boys. Hello, boys. There is a young salaka bird. Catch him. So eso salaka potako ganata nang. Grab him or catch him. Aha would be referring to the doctor, he said to the boys, right? So then one of the boys immediately gripped the snake firmly by the neck and dragged him out of the hole. So at eko kumarako, one boy, so he has gripped gahetva, having grasped. Dalhang is, I think, an adverb, firmly. Givayang, by the neck, and it's the snake by the neck, and then he has dragged him out, niharitva, pulled the snake out of this tree. Then the boy, it says, but as soon as he discovered that he had a snake in his hands, he screamed. So that is this, vivarantu, is he screamed, referring back to the Kumara ko, the young boy. And then Nyatva, having known, Sapa bhavang. So this bhavang suffix has the sense of what we could maybe in English have as ness, N-E-S-S, the snakeness, the snake nature, or in other words, that in fact it was a snake, not a bird, right? And for him, the boy, or maybe it's its snake nature, he screamed and threw the snake on the head of the physician who stood close by. So here, our aorist, Kipi, this is still the boy acting, threw on the head, matake, and then here, titasa vejasa, the doctor standing. This, I think, would be the present participle, also in the genitive. And then it's described as avidure, nearby. Yep. The snake coiled about the shoulders of the physician, bit him hard, and then and there killed him. So the snake, the subject of this new sentence, parikipitva, having coiled around, kanda attikang, this is translated as the shoulders of the physician, genitive. And then dalham dasitva, this is dasati again in the absolutive, having bitten hard, dalhang, firm or hard, tat eva, there, and then there killed him. So here, jiva takayam, the destruction of his life. So that's a slightly different reading. I hope it's as clear as it can be, or maybe as clear as I can make it. Are there any questions or comments about this reading?
Stephen, did you say that the tetasa was a present participle?
I would have guessed so. Would you think it was a past participle?
Um, I I would, but
Okay.
I definitely could be mistaken.
It could be. I'm not sure. It seems to be functioning as a present participle in the sentence, but it could
Yeah.
be a past participle. I would have to look it up, I'm afraid.
Huh.
Titanto? But that's sort of a guess. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that one up. Maybe if somebody wants to scan their dictionary quickly, they can give us an answer. What the present and past participles of T to T would be. Okay. If there are no other questions, we can go on, I guess. So this fourth reading is from the Jataka. I have written here from the Jataka Attakata, but I think that's wrong. I think it's just from the Jataka, or I know it's just from the Jataka, so I crossed that out. And it's called the Kuta Vanija Jataka. So here the word Kuta, which we've seen in that famous sort of stock passage about the house with the pointed roof or the gabled roof, Kutagara. But here Kuta means something like corrupt, a different word completely. And I've even looked up, if I can find in the old Jataka stories, here it is translated. These files are all available freely online. These translations are really over 100 years old. He calls it the cheating merchant. So maybe would somebody like to start translating for us? Reading and translating? Fiacra?
Sure, great. Okay, excellent. So, sorry, if you bear with me just one moment.
Sure. I wasn't sure how to translate Varanasi either. You see it sometimes as Benares, sometimes as Varanasi, and sometimes as Varanasi, which I think is what it's called today. So I guess that's up to you.
Okay, yep, great. So, actually, sorry, yeah, so Atita Varanasiang Brahmadate Rajang Karente Bodhisattva Varanasiang Vanijakule Nibati. Okay, so once upon a time in Varanasi, so this was when Brahmadate was ruling, and then so a bodhisattva was born in Varanasi into a clan of merchants.
Right. Vanija Kule.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, at least in America, don't like to translate Kula as clan because in America we have a sort of negative connotation with the word clan.
Yeah, but it's just an old Gaelic word.
Yeah, of course you're right. You know, we could be sort of an extended family.
Yeah.
And I guess this would be the Bodhisattva, meaning Gautama eventually, but not in
The
this
Bodhisattva,
iteration.
as opposed to a God Bodhisattva.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, would you continue?
Okay. Nama Gahana Divase Cha Pandito Ti Namang Akangsu. Okay, so the Nama Gahana Divase is the day where he receives his name. So it'd be like a christening, only without
Some sort of naming day ceremony. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So at his on his naming day, they called him Pandito. So they gave him the name Pandito. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that? What is this chasa representing?
So cha is and I was just derping that as asa as in his.
Yeah. Or for him, something like that. Right.
For him, yeah. But I was just going with his naming day, seeing as it was.
And what is a kangsu, just technically?
So that would be the aorist of karoti in the third person plural.
Right.
Yeah.
So literally it'd be something like they made the name Pandito for him.
Yeah.
That's not a good translation, but that's sort of grammatically what's happening.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. Perfect.
Thank you. Sarah, would you like to continue?
Okay. Next sentence. So vaya pato anyena vanijena sading ekato hutva vanijankaroti tasa atipandito tinamana hosi. So when he came of age, so vaya pato is basically coming of age.
Mm-hmm.
Having this, it's hard for me to get this into good English, but having been hutva together with another merchant doing trade. So the anyena vanijena sading is the instrumental. Then he was doing karoti vanijang trade.
Yeah.
Whose name, Hosi Naman, was very wise, Ati Pandito. So
Right. So I guess there's a question whether we should translate these names in English so the English reader understands the sort of punchline, the point of the story. Otherwise, they might not realize that Pandito and Ati Pandito have this relationship of wise and very wise.
yeah,
Perhaps.
I think here it's good to translate it.
Yeah,
because,
I think that would be, and I think in the old Jataka translation, let me see what they say. I think they do. Well, I can't find it this moment, but I'll have to look later. Anyway, and ekato hutva, I took having become one. Something like that would be the literal translation, right? But I translated it as joined together. So I have, he reaching maturity joined together and did business with another merchant whose name was Atipandito, something like that.
Yes, that's better English.
So ekato hutva, having become one, is something like they joined together. Yeah. Could you go on?
Sure. Te, that's where we are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Te Varanasito Panchahi Sakata Satehi Bandang Adaya Janapadang Gantva Vanijang Katva Lada Laba Puna Baranising Agamingsu. So
Okay.
they, that's the te, I think you've highlighted that. They, having taken Adaya,
Right.
500, so we've got the split number here,
That's right.
500 carts of goods from Benares. So it's Pancha Sata is the 500, and Bandung is goods, and Sakata is carts.
And what case is that all in?
That's all in instrumental.
Well, there could be ablative. I
Or
would say.
ablative, actually. I have it written down as ablative.
And how about Varanasi to? What also case would
I
that?
think ablative.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
so
taking
from,
this. Yes.
right. Taking
They're
it
taking
from.
500 cartloads of goods from Varanasi.
So, quick question with the numbers. I always think it's always an instrumental, but it's actually just the instrumental / ablative case.
Well, that ehi suffix is shared by those two
Right.
cases.
So
Right.
it's not like a rule, like with the sudding, that it has to be instrumental then.
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
All right, correct the mental note. So let's see, having gone, Gantva, to the provinces, Janapadang,
Right.
and having done trade, Katva Vanijang,
Right.
they made profit. So the Lada Laba comes from Labati plus, so Lada, like the past participle of Labati,
Yeah.
and plus Labha. So we've got, that's an accusative plural. And I think our book tells us that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known that. So made profits.
Does it tell us that it's accusative plural?
I don't know if it tells us it's accusative plural, but it gives us the definition as made profits, I believe.
Yeah, but I take
Yeah.
it with te. That's why I put it in this sort
I
of
see.
lilac color. And so I take it as a bahubihi nominative plural.
Oh, okay.
They having made profit, or
Right.
they profited, if you want to use that ed suffix for the bahubihi.
I see. I put it in accusative, but nominative would be better. And so my English reflects that. So they made profits, or they had made profits. So those two go together. That's
Yeah.
excellent. And they approach Aging Mingsu, which is the aorist of Agachati, Varanasi, or Benares, however you want to call it. So.
Yeah, they came back,
Right.
Agamingsu, right from Agachati. They returned to Varanasi.
Okay, yeah. I mean, literally, it's came to or approach, but what it actually means is they came back again. So
Yeah, they went out, they made their money, and they came back.
they came back.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you. Catherine, would you like to go on?
Okay. Atta te sang banda bajana le ati pandito aha. Maya due kotasa ladabati.
Mm-hmm.
I translate this one first. Then at the time, goods, dividing the goods, Ati Pandita said, Maya here is Aya. I should be receiving 2 shares. Maya, the Kotasa shares, Ladaba, future passive participle of Labati should be received, or I should be receiving 2 shares.
Right. Or maybe literally, there should be 2 shares for me.
For me,
Something
it
like
should
that.
be okay.
Yeah, but your translation is fine. And so Atta tesang banda bhajanakale, at the time of the
Dividing the
dividing goods for
dividing.
them, right? At the goods
Bhajana is
dividing
dividing.
time, right?
Yeah.
At the goods dividing time for them,
Goods dividing time.
Atipandito said, two
I should
shares
receive.
should be. Yes, I should get 2 shares exactly. And can you
Yeah.
go on?
Okay. Kim Karanati. Why? Tuang Pandito Ahang Ati Pandito. You are Pandita. I am Ati Pandita. Right.
Yeah.
Pandito Ati Pandito Dueti. So it say a wise Pandito, a wise one deserves one to get one, and a very wise one deserves 2.
Right.
That's the meaning.
That's his logic. Right.
Yeah.
Could you do one more sentence?
All right. Nanu aha kang duenang bandamu lang pi gona dayo pi sama yewa. Kasma tuang due kota se ladum arahasiti. So here, is it not that our capital, like oxen, were the same? Do you know, Ma?
Right.
Why do you deserve to receive 2 shares?
Right.
Why? Huh? Why do you deserve to receive 2 shares?
Right. So arahasi, we had a moment ago, arahati. It's the verb that goes with the famous arahant, the worthy one. But here it's a much more mundane sense of to deserve, to be worthy of. This is our infinitive form, right? And can you explain for us gona dayo pi?
Gona adayo. Gona dayo. Gona is ox. Adayo is the absolutive of adati, having brought.
I don't think so.
Or
I think
having
it's
taken.
adaya, meaning and so forth, etc.
Oh,
You see that? That's in our grammar point number 9, if I can find it.
meaning etc.
Yeah,
Capital like oxen and etc.
I
Were
think
the
so.
same.
Right.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
I think so. And what case is anghakang dvinang?
Anghakang plural of anghakang is the plural of he, we. Dunang is the 2.
Yeah, what case?
Oh, what case? Which one? The amhakam. Amhakam.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Accusative?
I don't think so.
Oh, then Dunang also accusative?
I think it's genitive dative. Let's check it.
Dative.
You have me checking. That's what I thought. Yeah, it's amhakang is genitive dative, and dvinang is genitive dative.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So isn't this stuff for us, of us, us too, right?
Okay.
Isn't it the case that the initial capital for the two of us, dative, the oxen, etc., is indeed exactly equal.
Equal or the same.
And notice here the word mula, which does not in this sense mean a root. It means money, essentially. And we have that word actually in English. It's sort of a slang word, mula, meaning money, which I imagine came from India. Goods and capital, goods and cash, something like that, goods and money.
The initial capital.
Of the two of us, or for the two of us, is the same. You see, we started out with the same. Why do you get 2 now? That's the sense of it. And what is his answer?
The answer is Ati Pandita Bhavena. Because I am Pandita. The fact that I am Ati Pandita.
Right. The fact that I am Atipandita. Right. My Atipandita-ness. Something like
Yes.
that. Right.
The Bawam. Yes.
Very good. Sarah, there's a question?
Yes, I had highlighted that adayo
Yeah.
because of my confusion. And when I look in the book, it's page 141. It's adi and adini for etc.
Yeah.
But this is adayo. And
I know.
I mean, it confusing me because it's in the nominative singular.
Yes.
So
I could be wrong, but that's how I took it, as a sort of
It would make more
etc.
sense if it was etc. But if it was the past participle, oh no, in the absolutive, it wouldn't end with an O.
No.
Right. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So
It wouldn't make grammatical sense as an absolutive.
right.
It's not the right formation. Let's see if I could find it quickly in this translation, how it was done. We both had an equal interest in the stock in trade and in the oxen and wagons. It doesn't have an etc. A little bit not clear to me. Maybe I'll have to think about that more, but that's how I took it.
But anyway, it's not absolutive lah. Absolute lah. The absolutive is not.
The adayo, this yo thing, is a feminine nominative plural suffix, right? So it's gona, which is a feminine, I guess, and ada, and then it's put into the feminine plural nominative suffix because that, I think, is the gender of gona. Yeah, that's how I took it. But it's definitely a little bit obscure. But certainly this case is feminine nominative plural. It's not a participle, I don't think. It's not a absolutive. Okay, Catherine, can you just do for us then the last sentence of this section? Evang te katang. I don't hear you. I'm sorry, you're muted.
Sorry. Okay. Ebam te katam vadetwa kalahang akamsu. Thus they increase the so they quarrel. Thus they increase their speech. They quarrel.
They quarreled. Right. Yeah. Or I said, I have thus their discussion escalated and there was fighting. Yeah. Something like that. They kept arguing and they started fighting. Maybe even physically, right? Not so good. Okay. Ajahn, would you like to continue for us?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Tato atipandito atdeko upayoti chintetva atano pitarang ekasming susira ruke pavesetva tvam amhesu agatesu atipanditoti dve kotase ladhung arahatiti vadeyasi ti. Okay.
Yes, a super ultra long sentence. That's a good place to stop, I think.
Yeah. This is a funny sentence. So then, very wise, the one very wise, chintetva atano, having thought for oneself, having thought himself, and then in quotes, there is one skillful means, unquote.
Yeah. Or even a trick.
There's one trick.
In this case.
Okay.
I think our dictionary has that old-fashioned word, a stratagem, which is a sort of a ruse, a tricking kind of plan.
So there's this trick. So ekasming susira ruke beseva pitarang. So having caused to enter or having placed pitarang, his father. So he took his father and put him ekasming susira ruke in the hollow of one tree.
Yes.
And then what comes next is inside of a quote. Basically, he said to him, Tvang amhesu agatesu. So you, amhesu agatesu. So this is a locative absolute. In our coming. So you in our coming. So when we come by, and this is a quote inside of a quote. Vadeyasi. So you might say, or you could say.
Or even you should say, perhaps.
Yeah, thank you. You should say.
Ati pandito dve kotase, ladung arahati, right?
Yeah, so ati pandito. So it is worthy. Sorry. So due kotase, the two shares are worthy to gain arahati ladung.
Yeah, or maybe better, Ati Pandito deserves to obtain 2 shares.
Okay, thank you. That makes
using the
total sense.
infinitive, maybe.
Yep.
Right.
Thank
Ati
you.
Pandito deserves to get 2 shares.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Then Vatva.
Having said this, bodhisattvang upasankamitva samma maihang dvinang kotasanang yuttabhavang va ayuttabhavang va esa rukadevata janati. So having said this, and then having approached the bodhisattva, which must be Pandito, again, what comes up next is in quotes, so we can say he said this.
Well, I think it's Ati Pandito that goes to the Bodhisattva, right? Because the Bodhisattva is called Pandito, if I have that right. Is that right? Yeah. So the Bodhisattva in this story is called Pandito. The sort of bad guy of the story, his business partner is called Ati Pandito.
Okay.
So this going up to Upasamkamitra, to the Bodhisattva, the action, the doer in this piece would be Ati Pandito.
Okay. And then he says, friend, Maihang Dvinang Kotasana. This, okay, Ruka Devata is the subject, or Esa Rukata. This tree Deva knows Yutabhavang va Ayutabhavang va. So whether or not there's va, whether or not Yutabhavang, if it's fair or if it's proper, or Ayutabhavang, or if it's unfair, improper.
Yeah.
For us, these 2 shares. So this Ruka Devata will know or knows whether or not these 2 shares are fair or not.
So what is Maihang?
Our?
I think it's a dative singular for me.
For me, excuse me.
So sama, right? Like something like friend, esa ruka devata janati. This tree god knows whether yutabhavang va ayutabhavang va. So literally it means the state of being right, or it's correct. It should be this way. So this tree god knows whether it's appropriate or not appropriate that there are 2 shares for me. Me meaning Atipandito, who's doing this trick. Yeah?
Sounds good.
Would you like to go on a little bit?
Sure.
So
So
I'm just wanted to point out it's tricky because the word Maihang, I'm looking now in our book, the word Maihang is shared by the first person genitive dative and the first person plural nominative. That's the same word. But in this context, I would take it as the first person singular I in the genitive dative because it's going with dvinang kota sanang. You see? So I put that all in this purple color to show this genitive dative case. I sort of
Hey,
tried to color code it the best I could.
could I pass? I didn't realize we were doing these second ones from lesson 10, so I've just kind of been
That's no
scrambling
problem.
along. I did all the
Yeah.
ones for the beginning of lesson 11.
Okay.
But,
We'll come back. No problem. No problem, Bante. Diane, would you like to continue then for us from Ehi Tvang Puchi Samati?
Ehi tam puchi samati tam tata netva aye ruka dewate amhakam atam pachindati aha atasapita saram parivatetva tenehi katetvati aha. Actually, I have a question from the first part of the sentence, the tatoati pandito.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that the atano went with the pitarang,
Yes,
meaning his own father.
that's right.
Okay.
Maybe we weren't clear, but you are right. I agree. So what is pavesetva? Pavesitva.
Visetwa. Now, where did you jump to?
Well, it's just a couple of words
Oh, okay.
forward.
Entered.
Yeah, but it's the
Having
causative.
entered.
It's the causative of pavesity. So having
Having
made
made his own father enter to the hollow of the tree.
right his own father. So atano pitarang, just as you said.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Right. So back to Ehitam, it's come. We will ask him.
Yeah, come. We'll ask him. Meaning, well, who is that? What is the tongue here? What is the him?
Him. Ask the Ruka Devata.
Exactly.
We will
Okay.
ask him. And so Netva, having led him there, and that him is having led the Bodhisattva there, tata.
Yes. Yes.
Then he says Aya, which is like the worthy tree god, Ruka Devate, worthy
Yes.
tree god.
Vocative, I think, right?
Yes, locative.
Yeah. Feminine locative.
Hakam atam pachinda. Pachinda is imperative of decide or put an end to our amhakam, our atam question. Worthy tree god, put an end to our question. He said, aha.
Right. So this is, as you said, pachinda would be the form of the imperative, the polite imperative, second
Pachindati.
person plural, I think, speaking to him in the plural politeness. And then this is the accusative, this matter or this problem, and then amhakang, of us, for us. Right? As you said. Go on.
Atasa pita saram. Atasa, now, this pita, father's voice, saram is voice, parivatetva, having changed the voice of the father, then in the quote is Tena hi kateta. Then please talk.
Yeah, or please tell me. Please tell
Please
us.
tell me.
Yeah.
He said, then please tell me.
Yeah. So at asa pita sarang parivatetva, I have his father having changed his voice. The father, I took asa, maybe his father, and the Sara is the voice, right? And then,
Yes.
good. Okay. Lisa, do you have a question, or would you like to continue?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have? I was looking in the book on the imperative form for pachinta. You mentioned that it's second person plural. I'm trying to locate.
I think
where.
that's in the next chapter, but I mean, it would be with the short A. It's lengthened, I think, because of the T. So it's in Grammar 11, number 1, page 152.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's it.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, so are we at Aye?
Yes.
Ayang. Okay. Aye ayam pandito. Aham ati pandito. Amhehi ikato boharo kato. Tata kena kim labdha pandi. So worthy one, this is pandito. So this is one who's wise, and I am one who's very wise. Amhehi ikato. So ikato voharo. So some trade or some business has been made, and amhehi is the instrumental plural by us.
Right.
And then tata, so there.
This is very idiomatic. Yeah.
Okay, so kena kim, I guess I translate it as what is there to be obtained, labdhapan. What is there
Right.
to be obtained there?
Yeah. I've just translated it freely as who should get what. But literally, it's, I think if we wanted to understand this precisely, it would be there by who what should be received. Yeah. There, so there is the tata, kena, by who, king, what, and then ladabang, should be received. But I just have who should get what, right? Who gets what?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So going on, panditena eko kotaso ati panditena dve labdhabati. So one share eko kotaso by one who's very wise, and two are to be obtained by very wise.
Yeah. One share for wise and two for very wise. Yeah. Right. Good. Okay. Huilin, would you like to continue a bit for us?
Sure. Bodhisattva evam vinichtang atang sutva idani devata bhavangva adevata bhavangva palalang.
Wait, Jani Sami Ti, right?
Sorry?
There's the verb here, Jani Sami Ti. Did you say that? I'm sorry if I missed it.
Don't think I've reached there yet. Palanam aharitwa susiram puritwa agim adasi janisamiti. Yes? Okay. The Bodhisattva, having heard Sutva, I put here Atam as the case. Suppose lawsuit or something, but the case.
Yeah, the
Tas
matter,
evam,
the case.
yes.
Yes.
Tas evam decided we need chitang and taught. This is the bubble. Now, idani, I will know Janisami.
Right.
Either the state of devata bhavam is like nature of the deity or godliness, so the state of godliness, or va ungodliness, which is adevata bhavam,
Right.
and put of him.
Right. Or basically, the Bodhisattva thinks, now I'm going to figure out if this is a
Yes.
tree god or not.
Yes.
Is this real
Very
or is this
funny.
a trick, right? That's what he wants to know.
And so, having fetched or taken or brought aharitwa, straws,
Yes.
halalam, having filled puritwa, the hollow susiram, and
Yes.
gave fire. To me, it's lit. I mean, he
Exactly.
gave fire. Lit
He
it,
gave
yes.
fire is very idiomatic. We would probably say he set it on fire, he lit it up, something like that, just as you said.
Shall I continue?
Please, yeah.
And I'll try. This is a little bit tricky. Ati panditasa pita jalaya putta kale adanjita mena sarirena. So this is genitive. Ati panditasa's father. So Ati Panda's father. Putta kale is touched or reached in time. So I think by the flames, Jilava, with his body, Sari Rena, half charred or burned, Ada Jaman Mina, which is so sad.
Yeah. So here, the father, Pita of Atipandita, Putta Kale, something like soon or quickly touched,
Yes.
Jalaya, by the fire, right? This would be probably feminine instrumental. And then Ada Jamena Sarina, Sarirena, sorry, with a half burnt body. And then go on.
Upari Aruva, which is having climbed up.
Yeah.
Sakam Gatewa, having taken a branch.
Yeah. He grabbed onto a branch.
Yes. Olam Banto Bumiyam Pativa Imang Gatam Aha. So it gives me the impression he was hanging on the branch or hanging from it. And that is the Olam Banto. And having fallen down, Patitwa, on the ground, Bumiyam, he has said, Aha. This Imang Gatam is verse or stanza.
Yes. Right. So he catches on fire. Half of his body becomes burnt. He climbs up out of it. He grabs a branch. He's swinging on this branch. He falls down on the ground. And then he's able to recite a beautiful poem for us. And what does he say?
Saduko Pandito Nama Nateva Atipanditoti. He says, good indeed. Saduko is the one named Pandita. But not good indeed. Nateva is Atipandita, the excessively wise one.
Right. That's it. Yeah. I think there must be more of this verse, of this poem, but it's not in our book. Let's see if I see it here. Or maybe not. wise, rightly, wise, wrongly got his name. Through wisest, I'm nigh roasted in the flame. So that's a very loose translation. Anyway, we don't need to concern ourselves with that too much. And I think you did a great job. Thank you. Are there any questions on this whole reading? It's very elaborate. Maybe not. Maybe that's enough of that. And maybe we can go on.
Stephen, I have a general question.
Yeah.
When you were learning Pali, did you have a distinct phase when you were just doing canonical Pali and then switched over to commentarial Pali, or did you just learn them both at the same time?
Well, I did this book, so this is the way it was presented. But I can tell you that once you get back to nice, crisp, clean Sutta Pali, it's going to seem so refreshing. And in fact, I think in the next lesson there is a reading from Sutta Nipata, which is comparatively so clear and easy. So, yeah, that's what I would recommend. And I guess what, as I have said before, the authors of this book decided that they wanted to sort of give a broad-based presentation of Pali. That's why they give poetry, prose, later Pali. But if I had to do it all over again, maybe I would make people stick to Sutta Pali for longer, because it's simpler. It's perhaps maybe more what people would like to read anyway. But anyway, that being said, we're back to Rasavahini. Right? Well, and Ajahn, would you like to do some of this for us?
Yes, I would. Okay. So, Atite Jambudipe Ajitarate Eko Gopalako Vasi. So, in the past, Jambudipe in India, or the Rose Apple continent, Ajita Rate, I believe that's in the Ajita state, Eko Gopalako, one cowherd lived.
Yes.
Okay. Tassa gehe eko pacheka buddho nibbadham bunjate. So, gehe in his house. So gehe locative, tassa his, in his house. Eko pacheka Buddha, one pacheka Buddha, one independently enlightened Buddha. Bunjati, 8. Nibbadhang, accusative adverb, always. So one pacheka Buddha always ate in his house.
Right. So we have this word pacheka Buddha, which is, I think, has its own grammar section in our book. This must be some very, very past time, because at least traditionally in early Buddhism it said, as you know, Ajahn, that I think that we can only have one kind of Buddha at a time. I'm not sure. I don't know if a Pacheka Buddha could exist at the time where there's been a Sammasambuddha. But it's interesting that in these historical accounts, or these accounts of ancient times, they tend to look a lot like India, and wearing the same clothes and the same place. And anyway, that's neither here nor there, perhaps.
Can go another sentence or two?
Sure.
Okay. Tasmin gehe eko kukuro cha ahosi. So, tasmin gehe, locative singulars, in that house. Eko kukuro, one dog, and we'll see the word sunako, another word for dog, appear. So in that house, one dog also was. So there also was a dog in that house.
Right. How about one more?
Cheka buddho bunjando tassa nibbadhang ekang bhattapindang adasi. So the Pacheka Buddha bunjanto eating always, Nibadang, always gave his tasa, his
Or to
ekang,
him, meaning the
thank you.
dog.
Okay, yes, thank you. Gave to him ekang pata pindang adasi, so gave one pindang, a lump of food to the dog.
Right. Yeah. Or a bowl, a bunch of rice, a ball of rice, something like
All of
that.
rice.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. Fiakra, would you continue for us, please?
Sure, yes, great. So tena nisaya pacheka budhe sinehang akase. Gopaleko divasa tvevara pacheka buddhasa upatanangachi sukano tena sadingachi. So tena nisaya.
Sunako.
Okay, so Sunako, sorry, yes, Sunako pi tena sading gachi. Okay, so just running back to the start. So tena nisaya, and for this reason, so he generated a great affection for the Pacheka Buddha. So Gopaliko, so the cowherd twice a day went in attendance on the Pacheka Buddha, and the dog went with him.
Right. Yes. Good. Okay. Sarah, would you continue? Or you have a question?
Oh, yes, I can continue, but I also have a question.
Sure.
Actually, it's an observation. Is in the first paragraph, it's a kukuro, and then it switches to sunako.
That is
Kind of
true.
interesting.
I have no
I didn't
idea
know
why.
if that was like,
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I looked it up in the Polytext Society dictionary, and the kukuro is usually a hound of fierce character.
Really?
So maybe just meeting the Pacheka Buddha calmed him down to regular
Perhaps.
domesticity or something. I
I
always
don't
think
know.
there's like a little subtext in these stories, like to the actual, at the time when you were listening,
It
there might
could
have
be.
been some detail that, goes over our heads. So.
It may be. I don't know, I'm afraid.
And also, this is not that important, but John Kelly has Nisaya, but our book does not have Sotena Nisaya. If anybody noticed, that was
He doesn't have
an
what?
extra word. The expression, the sentence that starts with Sotena Nisaya Pacheka Bude.
Yeah.
The word Nisaya is not in the Ger.
Oh, really?
Grunatilica, it's in the John Kelly.
That's strange. It
yeah.
seems like we would need that.
I would think so. It might have
Yeah.
been just an omission.
It
I don't
must
know
be
if anyone else had seen that, but that's true. It helps with the meaning, though.
Yes.
Okay, so we are on Gopaliko, right?
Yeah, Eka Divasang.
Let's see. Oh, we're down here. Okay. I can't figure out where we are right now. I got too excited with the.
It's the second paragraph.
Gopalo. Yeah. Okay.
Gopalo Eka Divasang Pache Kabudang Aha.
Okay. Gopalo Eka Divisang Pache Kabudang Aha. Bante Yada me akasona bavisati. Tada iman sunakang pesesami. Tena sanyanena agacheyata ti.
Okay.
Okay, so the cowherd, which also changes from Gopaliko earlier on, but just noting that. Gopalo, the cowherd, one day, Ekadivisang, said, aha, to the solitary, or the Pacheka Buddha, Venerable Sir, Bante, Bhavisati, the future of Bhavati, when will when it's na, when there will, okay, very awkward English. I was just trying to do this literally. Yada, when there will not be an occasion, okaso, for me,
Ocaso, right?
ocaso, sorry, for me, may, it's an included pronoun, for me, basically to come. So in any, what it really means is if there comes a time when I don't come, I guess, or if there's an occasion when I don't come, then tada, I will send Pese Sami this dog, Imam Sunakang.
Right. So okasa has this idea of opportunity, occasion, or even a time. It's something we also say when we want to take precepts, right? Okasa ahang bante. On this, please give me this opportunity to take these precepts. So when I don't have an opportunity, when there's not this opportunity for me, I'll send the dog, right?
Right. When I'm busy, I'll send my dog, I guess.
Because the idea is that the Pacceka Buddha needs to be escorted, brought to the house, right? And then go on, Tena.
Okay. So
did you do that?
Tena Sanyanina. So, and by this sign, you will, you should come. And agacheyata is in the second person plural optative. So I guess it's respectful.
Right. And the sign, I think, would be the dog's arrival, right? When the dog comes, you should know that you should come along with the dog.
Right.
Can you do another sentence?
Sure. Tato pataya anoka anoka sadivasi.
So it's an okasa divase.
Thank you.
That's the three
Anokasa divase.
Right.
Sunakang pesesi. So I'll just do one sentence at a time. So then from that time on, or thenceforth, he sent, pesesi is the hours of peseti. He sent the dog when he had no time, or on a no occasion day is what it literally is.
Or not non-opportunity day. He didn't have the opportunity.
When he didn't have the opportunity, he then, from that point on, he sent the dog.
Good. That is the idea.
Okay. Want me to keep going, or should you want to move on?
Well, let's have Catherine do the next bit.
Okay. So eka wachane never, eka wachane never, pakanditwa, pachika budasa wasanatanang gantwa. Agatabawam jana petwa ekamantang nipaji.
Okay.
He, the dog, meaning the dog, he, ekawachena, on a single word.
Right.
He, on a single word, jump up. Jump up.
He jumped up.
Okay. Okay. Then went to the Pachika Buddha's place. Pachika Buddha's place of residence, the Natanang, place of residence.
Yes.
Barked 3 times.
He barked 3 times.
3 times. Made known his, that means he has arrived. Made known his arrival.
That's right.
Then he laid down on one side.
Good.
On one side. Okay.
It's a pretty great dog, right? So Vasana Tanang would be the residence, the dwelling place. Vasana plus Tanang, having gone. And Busitva, the somewhat exotic verb to bark, having barked 3 times. And Jana Petvatva is what? What is that verb?
Absolutive of this Janapati. Have cause to make known.
Exactly. It's the causative of Janati, Janapeti, to cause to make known or to announce his
Arrival.
agata bhavang, his comingness or his arrival.
Arrival.
Right.
After
And
that,
then he
lay
lied down on one
side.
Very good.
Yeah.
Would you do one more sentence?
All right. Pacheka bude velang salah ketua nikante. So, having observed the time, salah ketua is having observed the time of the Pacheka Buddha's departure. When Pacheka Buddha's living, he went in front of him barking.
Yeah.
Purato in front, Gachi. He went in front and then started barking.
Okay.
Okay. Having observed the time of the Pacheka Buddha's departure, he went in front of him barking.
Okay. Good.
But
You have something?
continue.
Okay, sure.
Pacheka Buddho tang rimang santo. Eka diwasang anang magam patipaji. Ata sunako purato tiriang tatoa. Busitwa itara magamewa ng aropesi.
Okay.
Santo is the present participle of testing. Okay. Anam is another. So I put that the Pacheka Buddha testing him. So one day entered upon another path.
Right.
Path. Anam is another path. Then the dog having stood in front of him, or across. Ata sunako purato tiriang across. Tiriang is across it.
Barking, having barked. Yeah.
Having barked, and then let him onto the other path.
Let him onto the other path. Right. So yeah, exactly. Very good. So vimang santo, this present participle.
Testing.
How did you translate that? Testing.
Testing.
And then tongue is the dog. Tongue.
The dog.
One day, having taken another path, right? And then
then the
dog standing
stood in front. Stood across.
Right, blocking, in other words, the path of the Pacheka Buddha, and barking like wrong way, right?
Yeah.
And then he led him to the other path, the other way. Very good.
Thank you.
Lisa, would you like to go on?
Yeah. Ateka divasang anyam magan patipachitwa sunakena tiriyang tatva variyamanopi anivatitva tang patena apanetva payasi. Sunako tassa anivatana bhavang nyatva nivasana kane dasitva akadhanto gantaba magang eva papesi. Evam so sunako tasmin pacheka buddhe balavasine hang upadesi. So then one day he entered another path and he's being prevented or obstructed by the dog. He stood across.
Standing across, the dog having stood across, right? Blocking him, in other words.
And then he did not turn back. So I'm guessing not the dog, but the Pacheka Buddha did not turn back.
Yes, he kept going. Right, he didn't go back.
And then he removed the dog with his foot, removed him with his foot, and then proceeded.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the next sentence, Sunako tassa. Okay, so the dog, knowing the state of him, anivatana bhavang, and then Natva's knowing or having known.
His state of not wanting to go back. In other words, understanding that he was continuing, right?
Okay. Oh yeah, right. Nivatana. Anivatana. Okay.
Right. His
then,
not turning backness, right? His persistence of going forward.
Okay. And then and having bitten the, I guess, the edge of his robe, a piece
like
of
the
his
hem,
robe.
the bottom piece that he could grab with his mouth. Not the body, the robe, right?
And then dragging.
Yeah.
And then brought him to the path. Brought him back to the path that was to be taken.
Exactly. Gantaba magain magam. So the path that should be taken, that should be gone on, literally, right? And I put here, I don't know if this is helpful, variyamanopi. So what is that again? Tell us that. That's back in the first piece.
That is a present participle, so being prevented.
Yeah. And I think it's basically standing in the place of the subject. So it's a present participle acting as a nominative subject. You see? That's what's on this page I put in, page 37.
Okay.
Because there's no stated subject in this sentence, really. So it's the present participle functioning that way. Good. I think there are one more short sentence. Evang so.
Yeah. Okay. Evam so sunako tasmin pacheke buddhe balavasinehyang uparesi. So thus the dog gave rise to I guess in a strong intense infection toward the individual Buddha.
Yes, right. The dog became very fond, or they became. So who became fond of whom? Is it clear?
Oh, it's the dog.
The dog became very fond of the Pacheka Buddha, right? Pacheka Buddha, in the Pacheka Buddha. Good. Okay. Diane, would you go on?
Aparabhaje Pacheka Buddhasa Chivarang Jiri Atasa Gopalako Chivaram Vatani Adasi. Aparabhaje, at a later time, the Chivaram, the robe of the Pacheka Buddha, Jiri, wore out or became worn. Atasa Gopalako Chivaro Atani Adasi. So the goat herder, the Gopalako Adasi, gave robe cloth, Chivara Watani, to him. Then the goat herder gave robe cloth to him.
Asa, right.
Yes.
So it's expressed in Pali as a plural, but it doesn't work that way in English. Robe cloths, but it's robe cloth for the robe, right? Go on.
The Pacheka Buddha Pasukatanam Gantva Chivaram Karesami Ti Gopalakam Aha. So the Pacheka Buddha, having gone to a convenient place, I will have made a robe, the cowherder said. Now, I'm not sure. Which is doing the quote? Is it the Pacheka Buddha?
Yeah, so I have translated this as, at a later time, the Pacheka Buddha's outer robe was worn out. The cowherd then gave him robe cloth. The Pacheka Buddha said to the cowherd, I'm going to a nice place to make a robe. Right? Because it's Gopalakang aha. He said to the cow herd.
Yes.
And this is Pasuka Tanang, Atanang.
It's a convenient place.
Yeah.
Atanang.
Right. That would be, yeah. Okay. Yes. Go on.
Sopi Bante Machiram Bahi Vasita Avadi. Let me get my notes out because I find this very confusing. The cowherder said, "Sir, please do not dwell outside Bahi Chiram for a long time."
Yeah.
So the Vasita is optative or imperative? It's imperative.
It's that polite imperative with the A lengthened here, I think, with the T.
Yeah. Okay.
And, well, I'm not sure because it's a ma. So ma usually takes aorist. But I'm not sure, actually. You have to look more carefully at that. This is that prohibitive.
Prohibitive ma.
This is the prohibitive ma. So I'm not entirely sure. It looks to me like an imperative.
So do not dwell outside for a long time.
But it could be aorist. I would have to check that. I'm afraid I don't know offhand.
Okay.
Okay. Fiakar, would you like to continue?
Sure, sorry, I had to mute there. So, okay. So, Sunako Pitesang Katang Sunanto Atasi. Achekabude Vehasang Abugantva Gachanta Bumkaritva Titasa Sunakasa Hadayang Pali. So the dog was listening to the two of them. Thus, so the dog heard the two of them, and should I say the dog stood listening to the two of them?
Well, I would take it the dog hearing the talk of them.
Yeah.
Stood up. He got up.
Okay, so he didn't stand while listening to it. He stood up, having heard them. Okay.
That's how I took it.
Yeah. Okay. Pachekabute vehasang abugantva gachante boom karitva. So the Pacheka Buddha going up into the sky. So then having, sorry, or should I say the Pacheka Buddha leaving by going up into the sky, namely the dog barked.
Yeah. So this is probably a type of locative absolute.
Yes, that's what I was
Gachante Pacheka Buddha. So while the Pacheka Buddha was leaving, rising up into the sky, the dog barked.
Dog barked, yes. There you go. And then Titasa Sunakasa Hadayang Pali. So the the heart of the dog broke while he stood there. Is a sense? Split in two. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So Titasa Sunakasa, the heart of the dog remaining behind there, broke. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was so upset that that the Pacheka Buddha flew away.
Was flying
that
away.
He couldn't handle the loss and he just died. Yeah. Ajahn, would you like to complete with the verses? The verse?
Sure. Tira chana name te ujujatika honte akutila manusa pana anyang chinteti anyang badante. So animals indeed, ete, I can take that as modifying the tirshana. So these animals, nama, I'm taking that as meaning just an emphatic. These animals indeed, or it could be, or what are called animals perhaps.
I would say maybe those that are called animals.
Okay. Those that are called animals, ujujatika in apposition, so they are straightforward, honti, they are straightforward, akutila, not crooked. So all of those are plural nominatives. Manusa pana anyam chintente, so pana, but, manusa, humans, chintente anyang, they think one thing, vadanti anyang, and say another. But humans, they think one thing and then say another.
Yeah. So dogs are better. Much more reliable. That is the moral of the story, I guess. Trust the dog. Yeah, okay. Well, that was a pretty big reading. Are there any other questions about this? Anything that wasn't entirely clear? I know it's a lot. Complicated. If not, then we'll finish for the day. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this class, Catherine, you have a question about this?
Oh yeah, just now you mentioned the ma, the ma, ma, chira.
Yes.
That one is do not.
Yes.
Ma means do not. Huh? Okay.
I know. But the question
it's
was...
prohibitive.
That's right. And this is a new grammatical point, which has now been introduced. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look up what form of this is vasita. I'm not sure. That was my confusion. I'll have to research that.
Vasita, I thought is the second person of vasati.
In what tense or?
Present. Present.
Could be, but I would have thought it would be imperative.
Imperative. Can
Sarah?
Well, I just wanted to emphasize that grammatical point that with the ma, you usually see the aorist.
That's right. That's why I'm confused.
But I think that's the imperative. So it's like a prohibitive with an imperative. So
that was my feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But I just don't know offhand the aorist form of vasati.
I don't either. I thought this was imperative. So yeah. But you will figure it out and you will tell us.
I will research what the aorist of vasati is, because it's vasita, so it could be aorist. And that's, as you said, typically what we find with this ma, do not do it, prohibitive thing.
Aorist for vasity should be vasi.
Vasi.
Okay, then it is aorist.
Vasi.
That answers our question.
Yeah, vasi.
So it's second person plural aorist.
Yeah.
That is the answer. Thank you for your help.
Second person aorist. Yeah, vasi, past tense.
So as we said, the ma typically takes the aorist, but it does not imply a past. It's just the way that this don't do it formation is done. Okay. Thanks for your help. And as I mentioned, I don't think I'll be able to make this class for the next 2 Sundays. So I'll put out an announcement about going forward, and you will be all relieved to know that we'll be back to some Sutta Pali when we come back. A kind of a fun reading. Okay, and then we have Dhammapada, and then we have a very important piece of sutta, Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, and then we're almost done, culminating in a lot of Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Okay, thank you all very much. I appreciate
Thank you.
your help.
Thank you.
I'll see you
Yeah,
soon.
thanks everybody.
Yeah,
If
thank
you
you,
have any
Stephen.
questions,
Thank you,
just email
everybody.
me.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Bye.
Stay safe, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.